All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Limitless Mindset Podcast. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I wanted to take a quick moment and say thank you to those of you guys that have been sharing the podcast, those of you guys that have been a valued listener for a long time. We went through some changes, got my new studio set up finally, so hopefully the audio quality is back for you guys. But again, just wanted to say thank you guys. I appreciate all the shares. I appreciate the comments. I love hearing your guys' feedback, and I love hearing how much you guys have been implementing this in some of your guys' day-to-day lives and your businesses and how it's been helping you. It's been incredible. So thank you for sharing that with me. Today, I wanted to drop a quick message that I think is important for a lot of you guys when it comes to your personal growth and when it comes to your guys' development. It's important that you guys are being honest with yourselves and you guys are telling yourselves the truth about the situation and where you're at and where you guys are personally, mentally, physically, and all other areas and aspects of life. I understand sometimes it's completely painful to look yourself in the mirror and have these honest conversations. I get it. I've been there. I often have these conversations myself. And one of the things that's the most hard to admit is when you're lacking in certain areas of our lives. We are by far the worst critics of ourselves. And so it's tough to have these conversations, and it is hard to admit when you're not good at things, and it's hard to admit when you're weaker at things. And this is a lot of the things that I feel like people tend to avoid these hard conversations with themselves. But what they don't understand is that it's absolutely detrimental to your growth as a human being and as a person, not just from a work-related standpoint, but in your mental health, your physical, appearance, and in how you guys feel, your guys' jobs, your work, your financial situations. All of it is going to depend very heavily on your ability to have these very honest conversations with yourselves. A lot of people tend to get frustrated with negative feedback, and I want to challenge that because sometimes negative feedback isn't always negative and it's not bad feedback. I tend to have a lot of hard conversations these days, which is not something that I was always good at. I was definitely somebody that did not like to have tough conversations. I was somebody that didn't like to give people negative feedback in a way, and I hesitate to use the word negative because I call it critical feedback. It is important, but it was always out of fear that people were going to take it the wrong way, and it would, in a way, not help them develop as a person. But what I realized over time was that I wasn't doing anybody any favors, and this goes for myself. I wasn't doing myself any favors by not giving honest, open feedback in an effort to help somebody actually improve their situation in life. If you keep telling people the same bullshit that they want to hear, they're going to keep living the same cycle over and over and over again. As a friend, I've finally realized that it is my duty and it is my obligation to point out the blind spots that some of my close friends and family aren't actually seeing, but do it in a manner that they know that I'm not being critical of them. It's just that I do want to see them win. I do want to see them succeed, and I'm trying to help them improve as an individual. This is something also I've had to really work hard on doing myself and having these very honest conversations and things that I'm weak at, things that I lack in, so that I could identify my blind spots, I could identify my weak spots, and I can work to become a better person. I see this happen in the workplace a lot. I see this happen in relationships a lot. I see this happen in friendships a lot, where somebody will give somebody negative feedback. Maybe they're not good at a certain skill set. Maybe they're not good at a task. Maybe they're not good at being a good communicator, right? There's a lot of things. Maybe their health is declining, and you as a friend or family member can see it, and you give them that feedback, and they take it very personally, and they almost shut down on you, or they almost lash out on you. This is the thing, guys. When people are giving you feedback, you got a couple different options. You can, number one, take that feedback to heart. Now, my advice is if it's somebody you don't respect and trust, don't worry about taking their feedback to heart, because it's not anything most likely that's going to help you improve anyways if you don't respect the person that it's coming from. But if it is somebody that you guys respect, and it is a friend or family member or somebody you guys look up to, or a mentor or a coach that you guys have hired that's giving you guys honest feedback, it might be something looking into and exploring and having that honest conversation with yourself, that it might be time to look into some of these things that they feel like you might be lacking in to help improve you become a better person. Again, guys, this is something that I've had to become extremely critical of myself, and you got to walk a fine line, because you don't want to beat yourself up to the point where you feel like you're not a valuable person, because believe me, each and every one of you are absolutely a valuable person. You just need to learn to identify where some of your weak points are and what you could be doing better. This is how you go out there and how you win. This is how you get better. It's no different if you were a professional athlete and maybe you guys were playing and let's say you're a baseball player and you weren't that great at, running through the bases. You could hit a ball really good, you could catch great, but your running speed was down. You can choose to tell yourself you're a great runner, even though your stats say otherwise running bases, or you can say, you know what, I'm not that good at it. This is a weak area and I want to improve. Everybody else is telling me I'm weak in this area. Let's get to work making sure that that area is better. And now at the end of that, when you focus on becoming a quicker runner through the bases, guess what? Now you're an overall better person. This is why I give feedback to the people that are closest to me. And to be honest with you guys, sometimes people do get get offended. They get their feelings hurt over this feedback, but I try to always remind them that it's coming from a place of love, because if I didn't care about people, I wouldn't be giving them this feedback. I would care less if they were doing better, if they were winning, if they were losing. I wouldn't care if they got better. None of those things would matter to me if I just didn't choose to give them feedback, right? I choose to give people feedback these days because, number one, I love to hear feedback in different areas and how I'm showing up and how I could get better. I understand that I'm critical of myself, and sometimes we have an ego on us where we feel like everything we do is the best, and it doesn't always show up that way to those around us. So I give people feedback because I genuinely want to see them better. If I got people around me in my circle that are living a very unhealthy life, I'm probably going to say something about it. Not because I'm critical of their weight, not because I'm critical of their eating habits, not because I'm critical of their drinking or smoking habits or anything like that. It's because I genuinely care about that person and I want them to do better. And I'm going to give them that feedback and say, hey, as your friend, I think you should do better. I think you can do better. I want them to live a longer life. I want them to feel better. I want them to be healthier. I want them to be sharp. This is one of those things where you as an individual can take that feedback from somebody like me, get offended by it and say, how dare they tell me I need to get in shape? How dare they tell me I need to stop smoking? How dare they tell me I need to stop drinking? Or you can say, you know what? Is there some truth in this? Should I probably get in better shape? Am I overweight? When I look in the mirror, you know what? I actually am unhappy. I'm not in the kind of shape I want to be in. Obviously, other people are seeing that as well. Maybe it's time to make some changes. And before you know it, you'll find out that these people that are willing to give you feedback are the people that love you. And if you're one of these people that struggle with giving people honest, positive, and negative feedback, I would really recommend you focus heavily on this and work on your delivery with it, because it could make all the difference in changing the lives around you. If you guys are a leader, it's your job to make sure that everybody around you is constantly improving. How are people around you constantly going to improve if you're hiding from giving people these feedback, if you're worried about hurting feelings with them? Now, of course, this does tie down to your delivery. You can't just go out there and start talking shit to them and tell them they're a piece of shit or anything like that, because that's not going to be constructive. That's not going to be positive to them. So your delivery is equally going to be as important. But if you have people around you that you do care about and you do want to see better, we've all got those friends, we've all got those family members that we know, and we look at them, we say, you're so capable of so much more. You could be so much more. I know it. I see it in you. They just don't see it in themselves. This is an opportunity for somebody like you to come into their life and give them that honest feedback and let them know, hey, I see more in you. I know you can be more. I know you can do more. And you never know. Sometimes those words that you give them are all that they need to hear to make a pivot or a life change to put them back on course and make the right direction. They just may not have seen it, and you're identifying some of their blind spots that they have intentionally been hiding from themselves because they didn't want to face the reality that they do need to get better in some areas. So again, guys, don't be afraid to give that feedback. And also, if you're one of these people, you have to understand that you have to be able to take feedback. You have to take this critical feedback. It's going to hurt your feelings sometimes. It's going to potentially test some relationships when you hear it from some people, because you're almost going to be offended in some way. But you have to change your mindset and you have to shift it. And you have to, number one, say, is it valid? Is it true? Is it coming from somebody I really respect and I love that maybe has their best interests out for me? And then number two, do I honestly think I need to improve in these areas? And this is where you have these honest conversations with yourself. It's okay to admit if you're overweight. It's okay to admit if your habits are bad. It's okay to admit if you're drinking too much. It's okay to admit if you're sleeping in too late and you're not putting in the work that you need to do. It's okay to admit if your skills are low and you need to work on getting higher skills. The quicker that you guys could admit these things to yourself, the quicker that you could identify these blind spots and give yourself honest feedback. Give yourself true, honest feedback that you're not good in these certain areas. The quicker that you guys can course correct, the quicker you guys can work on building your skill set up, the quicker you guys can get from point A to point B when you're able to identify these and just take it as feedback and take your emotion out of it. This is where a lot of people struggle. And I know some of you guys struggle with giving feedback because you're afraid you're going to hurt some feelings. But honestly, guys, you're not doing anybody any favors just by holding back this honest feedback. Give it to them. Let them know you care about them. Let them know that these people are important to you, and let them know that is the exact reason that you are giving this feedback, is because you want to see them do better. You want to see them live a higher quality life. The second part of this, guys, is you need to set the example. If you're not in shape, if you're not working out, if you're not eating healthy, you can't go give people the same feedback and tell them they need to eat, be in shape, be healthy if you're not living that by example. If you're telling people they need to make more money or make better financial choices, be smarter with their money, you can't be that person that's broke all the time, having shitty spending habits and not doing well. If you need to tell them that they need to brush up on their skills, they need to increase, they need to get better at their job, you can't be a basic low-level job holder and not have a higher skill set, a higher quality attributes that are going to put you in the top tier of the career field out there. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Again, just be open and honest to feedback. Give the feedback honestly and openly, and make sure that you're also receiving feedback open and honestly. And you guys will see how much your life will elevate when you allow to take some of this feedback that you're getting from people that are identifying the blind spots that you don't see in your own life. And they'll help you improve if you take that feedback to heart and you actually get to work on some of those things. Vice versa, you can be that person for somebody and give them the feedback that they may need to hear if you're identifying some spots that they may not see. You can show them that what their blind spots are from your perspective as a friend or trusted family member as well. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Don't shy away from the feedback, guys. Make sure you're giving it. Make sure you're equally receiving it. Make sure you're being honest with yourself. Make sure that you are setting the example and the standard for everybody around you. Show them what success looks like in all areas of life. Show them what success looks like financially. Show them what success looks like physically. Show them what success looks like mentally. Set the standard and set the bar, and then give feedback to everybody around you on how they can get better, and then show them and teach them. And you guys need to focus on elevating that circle up around you. But it all starts with you. It starts with you giving it. Starts with you receiving as well. As always, hopefully this is helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear how you guys implement this. And as always, if you know anybody that needs to hear this, please feel free to share the podcast with them. Feel free to share the show, tag them in it, and feel free to drop this message in their DMs as well if you think that'll be helpful. And as always, also, if you guys are looking for private coaching, feel free to check out my website, www.blakeclark.com. I offer private coaching and group coaching. We created the Limitless Mindset community where we focus every week on sharpening your skill set, sharpening your mindset, and making sure that you guys are always elevating yourselves so that you can elevate everybody around you. As always, I hope you guys have an absolutely incredible and productive week. Let's get out there. Let's crush it, guys.